Hello everyone, HisRoyalFatness here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be continuing the How to Play series on the FV215b, the Tier 10 British Heavy Tank, where I will show you 3 live, consecutive, very much realistic battles today to explain my thought process in this vehicle and to give you an idea of how it performs and what you should think when you're playing this vehicle. So let's discuss the FV215b. This is a great heavy tank, but it is very much a specialized heavy tank. It is no IS-4, in other words. You lack armor. I'm just going to be straightforward with you. You do have some turret armor, but just expect you're not going to bounce a ton of shots in this vehicle unless you're 100% hull down and in a good situation. But what you do have to make up for that is an exceptional gun with amazing damage per minute and amazing mobility. So this means this vehicle is quite flexible. You can flex around the map very easily. You can utilize that DPM and the accuracy this tank has. So I like to use it more as a medium heavy type of vehicle, not so much a heavy where I go for those face-on heavy tank engagements. It does not thrive in that environment. Sure, it is capable, but the majority of the time, you want to be a little bit more flexible when it comes to playing this tank and locating it according to what you think the enemy team are going to do. So in a similar manner, let's discuss the equipment because that is hand in hand with my playstyle in the vehicle. As you can see, I am running gun rammer, and once again, that is because with this vehicle, I'm not trying to go for those heavy tank engagements. So I'm not going to need that extra APCR pen necessarily all the time. So I'd prefer to have the extra DPM you get from the rammer to really deal with like the medium tanks you're going to run up against, or those tank destroyers, or when you're on the side of the vehicles to maximize that DPM. And I found this to be the most effective lineup for my personal playstyle, and that's what I must impress on all of you, is that this is always according to my own personal playstyle in the vehicle. You may have a different playstyle that may work better for you. So I'm just going to show you today what my playstyle is, and with that out of the way, let's jump right on into the live games. Alright, so here we are. First game, we are on New Naval Frontier. Got a little bit of brain lag there and remembering the name of the map. And the enemy team, they have a very mobile lineup. They don't have very many heavy tanks, and that's good to know. They're very likely going to go towards the top hand side of the map or the mid. I don't think they're going to commit as many tanks towards the heavy alley, but if they do, that may not be so bad for them. I am actually going to go towards the heavy alleys. I think I can be quite useful there. Looks like the majority of my team is going to go up towards the middle of the map, and I'm just going to turn my turret ahead of time so if that leopard tries sniping me through the opening, he does not have the option to. Blind shot definitely did not go in there, and I'm going to take it a little bit easy for now. Just pulling up towards this middle hand side because I still have a feeling, okay, the M60 is definitely a surprise. Either way, M60 or not, I don't think the majority of their team is actually going to head this way. So I think the M60 and the middle 2 are definitely headed this way, but they may be the exception in this kind of situation. So I'm going to wait for the middle 2. He may poke forward or not. I don't think he's going to commit all the way, so we're going to see if we can get any shots from here. There's the T95. We're going to load the HE and put a nice headshot right through his side. And I'm not exactly sure what this T95 is attempting to do, but I'm very happy to put another shot into him, and we're getting some good early farm off already. Right off the bat, we've done 1300 damage. The E6 is still there. We're gonna load the APCR up. That does ricochet, but we've already done a pretty good job at the start of this game. So I'm going to pull back just a moment and take it easy and see if we can find the Emil too. There is the Emil. We're going to take a shot maybe, or nope, his reflexes were not good enough to snag us there. So yeah, we're going to hold here. So the enemy team is very split out. Unfortunately, they've already lost their Waffenträger, which is a bit of a surprise. We're going to take another blind shot in case that E6 is pushed up, which I do not believe he is. And they're already down a lot of tanks. So here's the thing. I think I can afford to be pretty aggressive here on tanks like the M60 and whoever I want, because the enemy team is just kind of all over the place. The 704 is already pretty much gone down. The M60 is going to poke forward again. We're going to take off his tracks, and he's not going to pen this. And if he does, that's fine. He's wasting a lot of time to aim that, giving me an opportunity to reload here. And so even though we didn't bounce that, it's giving us immediately the time we need to reload here and hopefully start putting some shots into him. I'm going to activate the engine boost now because I don't want him to escape, and we're going to pick up the kill shot in just a moment. Very nice. The Mil 2 is going to be my next target as he is pretty isolated. There's probably an E6 covering him, but I'm not super worried about that. The E6 does not look like the best of players. Might be his first tier 10, who knows, but we've done a good job today so far in this game. So I went to the heavy side assuming the majority of the enemy team wouldn't go here, and I was correct in that assumption, and that is why I did go there this game. And as you can see, I'm not trying to take the super intense brawls. The tank's armor profile just does not hold up to stuff like that. Our Mil 2 should have the kill shot, and the M6 or the E6 is T95E6 is still shooting HE at us. So we're going to pull forward and hopefully put another shot into him before he backs around the corner. We do get the track shot in, and there was a leopard right in front of us. Now, my damage instincts tell me load up the high explosive and go for the leopard, which is what I'm going to do. And we do 130 damage. Okay, whatever. Still a good game. We're going to end it on just about 5k if I can get one more shot in, as we do. And yeah, that's the game over. Did I play that spectacularly? Definitely not. The enemy team was, they were not the best there. I went... But I think that is a good example of just kind of reading the lineup and seeing what the enemy team is doing. Like you saw, they had very light lineup, and their heavy tanks they had were not the most heavily armored. The ML2's armor is awful. I don't care what people say about it. Its armor is awful. Premium rounds just go through it all the time. So they didn't have much armor. They had mobile heavies. I assumed for that reason most of them would want to go towards the mid or C side. And that's why I decided to do the opposite and actually go towards the A side of the map. And it worked really well in that situation. Now, for the second game where we're on Canal, it is a completely different scenario. The enemy team is a lot heavier, which makes me assume they're probably going to go towards the middle hand side of the map. So I'm going to push up towards the A side of here in this corner because I can get absolutely amazing farm if I were to take the corner and the enemy team goes towards the mid. So hopefully I can get here without getting nuked. We can spot at the 50B, and there's the E100. We've already got some really good spots going over here, and I'm just going to pull up into this bush. Now, I'm not going to pull all the way through, and that's just to guarantee I don't get spotted, which I don't believe I am. No, I'm not spotted, so we can start farming this E100, who is bone stock, which is good for me. And he's going to pull forward, I assume, into cover, or maybe not forward enough. We're going to put another shot in. Gun being a little troll here. I'm not exactly sure why these shots are missing. Usually this tank is very good at hitting those shots. The Chieftain Mark 6 is unfortunately blocking me, and we take a blind shot from the E100. Luckily it doesn't pen. So let's just continue the farm here. This is all I need to do. This E100 went to a normal spot for him, but unfortunately, just due to how we have positioned ourselves, he's getting absolutely crossfired out here, and there's nothing he can really do about it. And that's the whole reason why I wanted to go towards A. I assumed the E100s would go towards the middle of the map. I assumed they would not want to actually take the corner, so that gave me an excellent opportunity here to start farming them out. Now, I do get spotted up there, and we can see the 57. I'm going to shoot the 57 because that E100 is looking at us, so we're just going to shoot at the tanks that can't shoot us back. And we've already farmed a decent amount of damage here. Now, our gun's been a little bit troll this game. I'm not gonna lie. We've had some very troll shots. The enemy 50B is already down, but we've already dealt 2,000 damage to these heavy tanks, and we're just sniping in the most efficient way possible. We're just shooting pretty much on the reload. This is an excellent way of playing your 215B. You get to that angle where you can absolutely farm out the enemy team, and unfortunately that doesn't pen. But the gun is just accurate enough and has enough DPM to really work in these kind of scenarios. Now, the enemy team is already dead. There's not much more for me to do this game, to be honest. I was really hoping for it to be a little bit more of a farm, but the enemy team just evaporated absolutely before I could do anything. So I'm going to engine boost out and see if we can get any more damage this game. But to be fair, it's probably not going to work. So what could I have done better this game? Looking back after it's kind of over, I definitely could have been more aggressive this battle. I could have pushed up towards that chieftain was right now. I would have easier shots on their tanks. Sorry about the cat. And definitely could have dealt more damage that way. I'm still probably going to break 3k by the time I am done with this game because they still have vehicles on pretty good HP, so I can probably get, 3 or 4 more shots in, but I definitely could have ended this game on a lot more damage than I am going to. We've done 3,000 already, so we're going to push in. The WZ just fired. You're going to shoot for his lower plate. Do get a good shot in there. Sheridan is kind of YOLOing. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm just going to prioritize this WZ who's below me. We're going to put a shot through his upper plate. Puts another shot through us, but it doesn't really matter. The game has already been won anyway, so let's put another shot into him for a nice max roll 500, and then we're going to wait for the Sheridan. Yeah, we're going to wait for the Sheridan. No. We're going to wait for the... We're going to kill him. Or not. Feels bad. I was trying to get more damage there. A little greedy. I'm sorry. But we ended that game okay. We still did close to 4k in the end, so I can't really be mad. Or we broke 4,000 damage in the end. Once more, not a superb example of intensive gameplay. The enemy team just wasn't the best. They actually had a pretty poor lineup for Canal. I mean, super heavies, they can work, but if you have the more mobile heavy tanks, that in that situation, we took the corner. The heavy tanks that did their job, that just kind of went to the mid, as most heavy tanks do, they just got ripped apart. There was nothing they could do there because they didn't have tanks in the corner. So if I think I can impress on you, it's really important to take the corner, especially if you can see the enemy team have those very slow, like big German heavy tanks that you can farm out. So use that engine boost, get there as fast as possible. A good split on Canal where you have tanks in the corner and tanks in the mid can work wonders on that map. And I just kind of farmed there, passively sniping, just using the gun how you can use it. If I was at IS-4, I might have been a lot more aggressive there just because the gun isn't as reliable. And yes, I did bounce a lot of shots, but trust me, an IS-4 would have missed way more. So we're on Rockfield now, and I'm going towards the right-hand side with the AMX-30. The enemy team have some pretty foreboding tanks. I mean, tanks like the AMX M454, if it gets hauled on, very risky. Also, tanks like the VK72 have a pretty good armor profile, and they have some nice tank destroyers as well. So we can see the E50s right about here. We're going to put a blind shot in. I believe that hit, but I'm not 100% certain about that. And I'm going to pull back before I take a shot from this E4, who is now pulling forward. And we can see the VK and the M4 have both gone down towards the middle half of the map. And let's see if we can spot anyone else up. Gotta watch out for tanks like that Waffenträger. I don't want to lose 600 plus right now. As you can see, our AMX-30 gets spotted up, or I get spotted up, so they probably have a tank around here or not, as it doesn't shoot at me. This gives me some good information actually on what the enemy team is doing. So we can see there's a Leopard right here. We're going to push shot into him. I'm going to help my team pressure these vehicles. Now the Badger is here, which is a little unfortunate. We did take a shot there, but I should be able to kill tanks like this E4 pretty quickly and just start progressing on this side. We're going for the weaker fight. We're going to take out these vehicles that are a lot easier for us to kill. I'm going to take off this dude's tracks. Even though I didn't pen, he took a lot more damage because I was able to take his tracks off. And we're going to take his tracks off again. He does get killed. And we're going to start pressuring tanks like this Leopard 1, hopefully putting a headshot through his lower plate, which we do. And we've already made some really good progress over here. And the reason I decided to do that push is, well, their TDs were pretty much not spotted up, and I didn't get spotted for blind firing their TD bushes. And most importantly, both of their heavy tanks were stuck on the outside. They weren't able to support the push if they were going to get pushed on. Now the M4 we can't pen with Hesh, but we can start shooting in the side. Doesn't seem to be the most experienced player for the M4, which is fine by me. Hopefully we can put a nice headshot onto his turret, which we get a little bit unlucky and only do 87 there. We're going to pull back before he can shoot at us, and hopefully, you know, he will get shot again. All right, M4 has pretty much gone down. We know probably the Waffenträger. Oh, no, the Waffenträger is on my left, and we're going to continue just blitzkrieging through the side. I'm going to pick up these heavy tanks. Waffle's out of the fight. This VK is very isolated. Once again, the enemy team just was not able to really handle it. I think this was a good example, though, of being a little bit more aggressive when you needed to. You definitely saw I was more aggressive on this game with the push on tanks like the E4 and into that corner. And that was just me identifying that, hey, the enemy team, they don't really have very many tanks over here, and their heavy tanks are completely out of the fight. We can push that and real quickly pick up some kills over there. We're not going to do much damage this game. We're probably going to do about 3.5. Which we have dealt, and I'm assuming the Leopard is probably somewhere in the spawn, or he has gone up towards the left. He's not going to run back that way. So let's see if we can get one more shot into this Leopard before he gets killed. Hopefully he has not ran off into our spawn, or he's not just sitting right out of my sight. So we're on a Leopard hunt right now. But yeah, this game, it was not... Okay, I got spotted up. So where could he have spotted me from? Probably from my left, right? So this game has not been exceptional. Oh, no, there he is. I'm not going to catch up to him. But it was kind of an example of just reading the map. And I think if you read the map, you can perform really well in tanks like the FV215b. Just find those fights where you can be aggressive and useful. And yes, we only did 3,500 damage there, which is a little bit less than I would want, but we won that game oh so very quickly. And that's because the enemy team is very split. You saw all of their heavy tanks were on that outside alley. The E4 was by himself, and the Waffle didn't get spotted up in the TD bush, and I didn't get spotted when I was shooting at that bush. So I identified that, you know what, they don't have any tanks really supporting the E4 except for those tier 9 meds. And guess what? The FV215b absolutely destroys tier 9 medium tanks. It was like designed for that purpose. So I just took the risk of engine boosting right across into that corner and just pushing on. It's just a good idea to be really aware of how the battle is playing out around you and kind of working around with it. And same with the first game where I went towards the A side on Naval Frontier. Read the map, saw what the enemy may do, kind of relocated accordingly. And that's what you need to do in the FV215b. You'll notice I rarely take those really heavy tank brawls. You saw, I completely ignored the VK72 and the M4 that last game. I did not want that fight. They would be far more superior where they were. Instead, you want to exploit those weaknesses. You have the mobility, you have the DPM, and if you can do that, you're going to perform really well in the FV215b. So I hope everyone enjoyed today's video on how to play the FV215b. This was just an example of your average gameplay in the vehicle, and hopefully you're able to learn a thing or two about the tank. So please feel free to like the video if you enjoy the content and tongue-tied. Please feel free to like the video if you enjoy the content and subscribe for more. You guys are awesome, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Saeed on the mix.